Yes, I am. Okay. Afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for the first in hopefully a bunch of new talks that we're going to be having for the Bachelor of Mass Comm Honors Broadcasting and the new digital media production. Okay, so today we have very special guests from Wildsnapper TV. They're here to talk about a very special project that they've just recently completed, filmed completely remotely. So it should be an interesting and informative talk. But before that, let's just introduce everyone from the group. So there's 6 of them today. We've got Zina, the executive producer, Leslie, art director, Angie, producer director, Lester's director of photography, Farid, story development manager slash casting director, and Lynn, who is the senior video editor. So they're going to speak for about 40 minutes or so, and then we will have a Q&A at the end of the session. So at the end, when you have any questions, you can click the little raise your hand button, and then I will call out a few of you. And when I call you out, you can then turn on your mic and just ask your question. Okay? So if you're clear with that, I will unshare my screen, and then Zina, you can take it from there. Okay, Zina, anytime you're ready.
Okay, um, I'm just gonna take over from here. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. My name is Leslie Yu, and I'll be moderating on behalf of the team. Team's talk today about our collaboration of team effort in making this short public service announcement PSA video project, Geng Kelambu. First, I would like to do a quick introduction to our lovely team. We have next, Z. So we have myself, the creator of the film and creative director, Leslie Yu, the executive producer, Zina Chu, Sabrina Fernandez, and Joanna Lee. The film director is Angie Chu, script writers, Farid Ramli, Sabrina Fernandez, director of photography, Lester, Brian Raja, post-production by Wong Hui Lin, and post and tech support by Wildsnapper TV and Reality Rentals. Just a slight introduction of the individuals that were involved that we have here today. Zina Chu, the executive producer of Wildsnapper TV. She and can go next, Z. So Zina, Joanna Lee, and Sabrina Fernandez are all from Wildsnapper TV. They have done tremendous amount of jobs, like The Amazing Race, The Apprentice Asia, Next Door Model, and all the great reality TV shows, Asia's Got Talent, and so on. And myself, I'm a production designer, director, also 20 years in film industry. I've done a couple of films, Westworld Season 3, Ghost Bride, Crazy Rich Asians, and etc. and goes on. And we have next, we have Angie Chu. She's a film director for our project. She's done quite a lot of reality shows, like Celebrity Chefs, Say Yes to the Dress, some films of Song Lap, and some drama series for Astro. Go next. Farid Ramli, very experienced in production, has done past works with director Dinside in the Entertain, and some films of Apa Dosaku, Story of and Asia's Got Talent. So done quite a lot of reality TVs of Amazing Race and Travel for Love and Map and much more. And go next. Lester Brian Raja, our director of photography, a technical guy. He's done quite a lot of TV, which is Asia's Got Talent, Amazing Race, Caesar Milan, Apprentice Asia, Asia Next Top Model, and much, much more. Let's go on. And we go to Lynn, who's our senior video editor, and she's done quite a lot of local films of Songlap, Istanbul Aku Datang, Golden Gincu, and also TV of, Asia's Next Top Model, Celebrity Car Wars, Travel for Love, and much more. So this is a very brief introduction of the team, because I just want to cut short of the time that we have. All of us has been in this industry for at least, about 15 to 20 years experience, and with a variety amount of experience. Just want to get through first the initial idea of the Geng Kelambu. The initial idea came from a series of thoughts of PSA video to be shared during our 2020 Raya festive season, inclined with the concept idea of shooting a project in the new norm style. I began by developing the initial concept and ideas for the video, but where do I begin? And having that idea is great, but doing it is entirely different thing. It needed to be explored further into a development process. So then I called up a good old friend, Zina Chu, which is our executive producer. She's a full-on passionate producer who loves challenges. We managed to shortlist 2 ideas of the film out of a few. So the first idea, which is, you can go to the next slide, Z. So the first idea was a relationship that has gone sour between a father and son to be reunited back again through a traditional family dish initiated by the son's wife by cooking a dish guided by her father-in-law, her husband's father, through the video call to reunite the taste of home. The wife became the bridge between the father and son, reuniting them back together to make peace during this Ramadan. And then we had a second idea. And the second idea was a group of close friends on a call, chatting away about their hard work and struggles throughout the MCO PKP period. Not knowing that one of them has lost his income entirely, and he felt lost and useless. He felt lost, so he left the chat conversation midway. His friends felt they needed to help him through this difficult time, so they gathered and made contributions to their good friend to help him out during this Ramadan month. But, we had to pick only one. We had many conversations about the technicality and the delivery of this project, which then leads to the production of the film. Now, I would like to pass on to Zina Chu, the producer, and an old friend, to share with you the process of producing this project. Zina, all to you.
Okay, so hi guys. So when Leslie came to me with the idea for a Hari Raya PSA that he wanted to ask for help to share, share to a client, sell to a client, it was really close to Hari Raya already at that point. And the first thing I must note was that I loved the 2 ideas he came up with. Okay, so I decided to take on the challenge, but because we were all stuck in our homes, it was a very slim chance that the company or client would buy this video. It was actually the story I believed in, and it was a quick decision that, okay, let's execute the shoot regardless of whether we sell. And of course, as you all know from the video, we didn't sell the video, okay? And how do we accomplish this video when our movements are restricted? It's a puzzle that we needed to solve, and we love solving puzzles. Part of the decision to shoot also Geng Kelambu under the MCO was we wanted to learn the new ways of shooting and being able to hopefully start discussions within all our people in the industry. And what do you do when you have no money? You think outside the box, you gather the right team. So for me, Geng Kelambu wasn't about the visuals or the expensive gear and what we shot this on a iPhone 8. It was a low-tech iPhone, and we borrowed lights, we borrowed some sound gear, and to bring your idea to fruition, you know, we had to call on the team. And these people, as you can tell from their profiles earlier, they were all people that we had always worked with for the last like 10 to 15 years. We've worked together, so we knew I knew we were all go-getters, and we were able to take on each part and execute them properly. The success of the project is dependent on the people we are working with. So as a producer, you know, the biggest challenge is always, you know, one is budgets. The second one is your time frame, and then you spend a lot of time doing proposals after proposals, and it ends up nowhere. The thing to remember is you can always find ways to make your budgets work. It's solving that puzzle. How do you do it regardless of your budget? The short time frame also, you know, helps you. You're running on adrenaline, and then it challenges you as a producer to prepare for any eventualities when you go on shoot. Don't ever think for a moment that if you're good at what you do, like let's say you're a good cameraman or you're a good art director or you're a good sound person, that is going to work. But it really is the teamwork, because every one of us, and we will go through after this, was part of the success. And I'm not a technical person, but so I went out of my comfort zone to understand the technical aspects that it took to transmit 9 people sitting in their homes to get them to view what was on screen, what we were shooting. And that was pretty much how how this whole project started. And I played a big part in the technical research of it. So you can do 100 decks and, you know, nothing comes out of it, and you'll wonder why you did it in the first place. It's easy to give up. An idea, you know, is an idea, but it takes a lot of hard work and research and planning to make it a successful project. You have the interest to make it happen, even if nobody wants to buy it yet. You have to believe in the story and everything. The fruits of your labor will come later. That's what I think. This story ended up, you know, being shared by hundreds and viewed by thousands because we did it. And here we are today talking to this class. And I hope that, you know, my advice to you all is to adapt, to think outside the box, research, you know, get creative, do trials and errors by spending hours and days with research and tutorials. And the result is what you see, Geng Kelambu, a story that touched a lot of hearts. So it's not how we did it, but how much money we spent. And our work should always be about invoking an emotion within our viewers, be it anger or sadness or happiness or laughter, you know. So basically, I know that I pass it on to the next person to talk about. I forgot to do the slides while I was. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go into how we do it, and I'll pass it back to Leslie.
Okay. Thank you, Zina. Thank you for your wonderful insights of the project. So the next, good storytelling comes from people with passion and, of course, great attitude. Here, I would like to introduce you Farid Ramli, one of our main script writers, to tell us how he helped build the script and his story of Geng Kelambu. So you can go next, Zina. So script writing and how it evolved. So Farid, you can.
Okay. Okay, hi guys. I wanted to start with like a different kind of opening, but I thought like since Leslie mentioned about passion and stuff, right? But to be really honest, during the MCO, I was seriously struggling with a lot of health issues and mental health issues. And it came to a point that like I really didn't want to do anything. But Zina approached me and asked me to collaborate. But she was kind enough to not pressure me to contribute. So I'm like, yes, saved. But when I read the first narrative that Leslie got Megat, another scriptwriter, to do, the story resonated, and I find myself liking the idea of a group of friends trying to make sense of a situation and do something about it. The challenge is now to communicate this idea across. Sabrina took the narrative and turned it into Ruang. I guess in a way together we explored ways to give the concept of space and distance some value without being too cerebral about it. Then Sabrina asked me to give the script a go, and the rest of the team supported it, and it was hard for me to say no. I mean, like, I have to contribute lah. So now here's the problem. The script's second and third act is not thoroughly flushed, and I really got no inspiration or any ideas. And we have like a short turnaround time. So I decided to ask the story 5 questions. Who is driving the story? What does he want to say? What is in his way? What does he do to overcome it? And does he get what he wants in the end? You see, these 5 questions form the skeleton of every story. If the story cannot provide the answer or the answer is unclear, one must use it as a tool to find clarity. This created the tagline, walau zahirnya kita berjarak tetapi batin tak perlu berjauhan. In turn, gives value to Sabrina's exploration of space, distance, and to a certain extent, time. Ruang then went through several other incarnations. One of the challenges was, how do you portray years of friendship without relying on supporting visuals or without the characters' dialogue being too on the nose? For example, Ray, I've known you for so long. So the thing is, most of us on the team have known each other for a very long time. During the collaborative process, we joke, laugh, argue, agree to disagree. Our banter's the perfect illustration of years of friendship, and it incorporated, and I eventually incorporated it into the dialogue. Ruang then matured with the addition of the Kelambu story. I got the idea while trying to get a good mobile reception on my rooftop and got bitten by mosquitoes. And then it hit me. The thing about the Kelambu or the mosquito net is that it cannot stand on its own. It requires 4 to 5 anchor points to hold it up sturdy. So in the story, the anchor points are the relationships each character has with one another. It's hard not to be precious about stories, especially when it means something to you. But like every good creator, contributor, collaborator, you need to let it go and let it be subjected to brutal decisions and hard choices for it to grow. So nurture your stories well, because it does contain some elements of life. Every story, it could be your own life story or not, have beginnings, middles, and ends. The second act, which is the middle, is where we are all stuck at. But it's also fun because it holds the dynamic, dramatic, and surprising conflicts and tensions that will make the journey more memorable. Everything in the story is not random. It's designed to serve a purpose. So when the going gets tough, stick to the story. Ask yourself the 5 questions, and it might provide clarity for you to find your resolution. When you eventually find it, I'm sure it will be fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Wow. Thanks for it. Thank you for your story. It's very interesting to see how far it goes from just a few lines of ideas developed, and from there it grows into a story. Well, besides having a script and a story to tell, Z, you can change to the next slide. We needed to deliver the storylines and playing those characters in it. Here I would like to introduce you to Angie Chu, our film director, the person who glued the story and cast together, the person who directed the film and directed cast and gave us goosebumps while making us cry watching it. Tell us about your story about screenplay and your story on directing Geng Kelambu remotely. Angie, all to you.
Hello, hi, Angie here. Thanks for having me. Okay, how do we start? So once we have the script, like how Farid described and explained to all of us and to all of you. So from the script, then we're like, who should we cast? And we're looking for people that we know, because MCO is hard for us to go out and do casting. It's hard for us to meet face to face. So we just gotta call friends among us. So okay, who can we call? We started texting everybody. Can we do this? Can we get this person? And then we try to get people that we are familiar and also the friends that are familiar with productions background. Yeah. So one by one start to say, hey, why not? Yeah, we can. Why not we try? We have a production background. We can do this, and why not try and stuff like that. So hence we got our cast from like friend recommendation, volunteers and whatnot. So how do we do this? So once we have the script, we have like we call it a script read. So then we gather everybody sit down, we go on Zoom, everybody's on Zoom. Then we started just to have a read. So we read the script, everybody, all the cast started reading their lines. So while they are reading the lines, they are listening. From there, we sort of like see, okay, cast A, I think he's quite good for this part, for this cast, for this character. Cast B, maybe not. So through the script read, we sort of like, oh, we can swap the characters around. We can swap, let's say, talent A to play character A, or talent B, instead of playing character B, he can actually play a better character C. So from there, we sort of like discuss among ourselves, discuss with the cast, say, hey, are you comfortable to play this character instead of the other character? You know? So from there, we actually improvise, change, revise, make it a bit more personal touch. Because everything also, how do we actually do a nice, or how to create a good screenplay with the script is we will try to do something relatable. We're trying to also change the dialogue to the dialogue, or to the words they are comfortable. They are more familiar. So when they deliver the lines, the dialogue is actually more believable. It feels that it's from them, it's from the heart. Hence, when we shoot it, when we edit it, you can see it's not like they're faking it. You know, you sort of like the character is playing it like as if it's from their heart. The way they say it, the way they deliver the dialogue is very real. Okay, so how do we do the rehearsal? So we tried Zoom. Okay, so everybody on Zoom, and then we try the rehearsal by timing. How do we time this? So someone do the timing, someone recorded the rehearsals, and when we do a few times, I think we did about 3 rounds of rehearsals on and off. And we actually recorded the last final rehearsal, because from there, with the rehearsal, everybody sort of know their timing. So like every dialogue, they will have, like say, 30 seconds for this part. You have 15 seconds for this. So plus minus, they sort of like, okay, I know when to come in to say my dialogue, or when this person finished their dialogue. So along with the rehearsal recorded, and then during the shoot, which we will explain later, we will just refer that rehearsal that we recorded, and then we record it together with it. Yeah, and also when we are doing the screenplay and we are doing the rehearsal, we also try to remind ourselves, like, how do we make this thing a bit more like heartwarming, positive? Because MCU is everybody is like, oh no, how. So the idea is, without this Geng Kelambu is like the start is a bit sad, but we try to make it a bit more positive in the end. So whenever we rehearsal, we also we will try to throw ideas of making it more positive, relatable, little touch here and there. Yeah, talk about backstory. Yeah, so that's how we do it in terms of the screenplay. So yeah, thank you. Back to you, Mr. Leslie.
Okay, got you. Thanks, Angie. It was such a pleasure to hear your thoughts and your process in terms of your directing point of view. The thing is, everybody that comes up from some sort of film school wants to become a director. But, we should start from the bottom, learning everything, including, even sweeping the floors and making coffee on locations. So it's not as easy as you think it is. So now here comes the part where the answer to a question comes. How did we shoot it? Coming in, a person who is technically wizard and a problem solver, a wonderful guy with an eye on photography, Lester Brian Raja. He's our director of photography for the film, our DOP, in short. So Lester, tell us, how did you manage to shoot the film remotely? Lester, all to you.
Hi guys. Hi, I'm Lester. So anyway, when Zena called me for this job, and then she told me about the story. It came. I really liked the story, but at the same time, how are we going to shoot it during MCO? You can't go out, and how are you going to move the gears around? So we decided to film it on an iPhone because technically you are able to film it on 4K, but due to the lack of technology behind the iPhone, you will get a lot of drop frames if you shoot it full res on 4K. So we decided to shoot it on 2K with this app called Filmic Pro. One thing good about this app is you can have a lot of controls over your image, as in shooting on log and all, compared to the regular camera app on the phone. So how we moved the gears around was that we hired a Grab to move it location to location. And once the equipment arrived, we sent out the camera, the iPhone, a laptop, and an audio kit to the talent's house, and also a very basic lighting kit. And we compiled a PDF file with step-by-step guide on how to set up the entire system. And we try to minimize as much technical equipment as we can, but not sacrificing on quality. And this being a no-budget shoot, we did a lot of tests. Actually, a lot of the work began in prep, whereby we did test after test, and to make sure that any layman can understand on how to use the gears that we are about to send them. And so in this slide, you can see Zena doing the test on her own with the iPhone. And from the iPhone, we casted it out to the laptop via Wirecast. And from Wirecast, we transmitted it on Skype, so everyone else, the producers, the director, could view what the talent was doing on set, at home. So it was pretty interesting on how we could wirelessly direct the talent in terms of story-wise and technical. And from Skype, because we had Wirecast on, we could remotely tell the talent to dim down the iris or change the color balance, because we could see all the controls from Filmic Pro. It was pretty interesting because it was my first time DOPing offset. And I must say that in order for you to really work at it remotely, it really helps that if the talent has a little bit of technical or production background. I mean, it's not impossible for any lay person or normal person to use this because it's only a phone, but it will delay the process a bit. Initially, we wanted to film the entire thing for 2 days, which is we wanted to shoot 3 talents a day as usual, because if everyone was to be on set, it will 3 talents a day shooting them would be easy. But on the first day of shoot, we found out that it takes a bit longer time for the talent to set up the camera on their own, and to have the audio tested, and to have the rehearsal. So at the end, we shot over 3 days, whereby 2 days we had 2 talents filming in a day. And that was pretty interesting. And then I must say that a lot of the work was done during rehearsal on Zoom, and trying to trying to direct the talents off-site. And after a lot of testing, we managed to have a sort of workflow whereby once the talent comes online on Skype, we were able to guide him through seamlessly. But despite all this obstacle, I think this is a very exciting way on how we can film post MCO. And ideally, after this, technical student needs to be on set lah, but directors, producers, and client can dial in remotely to shoot and to view the shoot lah. And I think that's about it. And most important, the location must have good internet, because you are relying heavily on good internet for you to broadcast the live footage across. And now I think I'll hand it over to post side. Thanks, Leslie.
Hi, thanks, Lester. And when we sort of figure out, what we needed to be done, and the technical side of it, the creative side of it, we started all the testing and what we call it also pre-production, getting all the things together. And from all this, thank you, Lester, for all your expertise about remote shooting methods and thoughts about the process, timeline, and delivery. Zina, could you also explain in your experience, because you also had a lot of part involved in the technical aspects and learning this, how to shoot it remotely. What were your experience during those process?
I think for me, it was we had a lot of lag when it came to the projection back to the 9 people, and when we found a few suppliers who could do it, and it would have cost us quite a lot of money if we had to get the softwares that didn't have a lag. So what we did, I think, in the end, after testing for a few days with Lester, the way we came up with using Wirecast and Skype turned out to be the best way for all of us to come in and out of a shoot. We could actually, having that setup of a Skype where we all could enter, it was like as if we were entering a room without disturbing the shoot. So that for me was actually quite interesting.
Okay.
Are you talking about that sort of technical side, Leslie?
Yes, and that was your experience, and we can sort of show to the next slide.
Okay.
And yeah, and the next slide. Yeah, so this is what Zina was and Lester and also Angie was explaining all together in this slide, where we have we after all the casting, all the rehearsals, Angie put up a board together just to gather information and planning on how we're going to shoot this, and all the process and technical process of it. So we had a lot of Zoom calls, as what Lester was saying, and we had multiple meetings, countless meetings on Zoom, and from there onwards we plan and schedule it. All this happened simultaneously within 4 days. So and the next slide, Z, and the next. Yeah, so this is how we shot the film remotely. So we actually it was a very simple setup, because of course what Zina said, there was we are doing this on our own and there was no money involved in it, and so we had to sort of improvise with everything and anything that the talent has in their home. So as you can see, as we the frames, we were just very simple. We're pretending that they are in a room, that we are pretending from the camera point of view is either from their laptop or from their phones on the frame. And as you can see, even the second frame on the top right, we had to pretend that there was a table in front of him. So, but he didn't have a table on that height. because we wanted to do different angles, pretending to be, either from a desktop camera or a laptop camera or from a phone camera. So we had just to give the variety of the look and that feel of the framing. So if you can see, we actually used an ironing board on that. And the next frame, which we see here, and this is what was the result. You don't see those things, but we did it in a way, so we frame it in a way that it sort of looks like it. And so the next part is, as we move along, is post-production. And post-production plays a very big part once you finish shooting. So when they all, it doesn't end here. You can't just play the footages, on any medium, just like that. It needs to be edited, cut to tell the story, creating a smooth flow transition from one to another, the beats, the cuts, the grading of color, the music, the final output. Here is Lynn, our film editor for the project. Tell us about your experience on the project, Lynn.
Hi everybody, this is Lynn. So as an editor, usually pre-MCO, I usually am not very involved in the scripting process or pre-production process. Usually when the script is ready, then they come and propose it to me, or come to talk to me, and then we go on from there. Or they shoot finish and then they just pass it on to me, and then I go from there. But now with MCO or like after MCO, I think it's good as an editor that I was involved right from the beginning. When Zina, Sabrina, and Joe came, with the idea of Geng Kelambu or Ruang at that point, to me, I was very intrigued, because like, how are we going to shoot this remotely? Who are our talents? And then aren't the frames are gonna, everything's gonna be the same? And then who is going to go shoot? Because we obviously can't send a cameraman or a team out. So like when we had our pre-production meeting, I was involved as an editor from the beginning in terms of scripting, and it was nice. It was a refreshing time actually to be involved right from the beginning, and to also in a way like throw out some ideas or some pointers of how will it work, like how are we going to shoot it, what do we need in terms of angles or different shots, B-rolls or insert shots, etc. So that was a refreshing take on my end as a editor. So then when we went into rehearsals, I think we hit like a kind of a stumbling block for me as an editor, because how do we then know exactly when everybody's emotions or reactions supposed to happen? Because we obviously can't decide exactly when everybody should react, right? Because we are all shooting individually. So what we did was we actually pre-recorded their rehearsal. We got every one of our talents to shoot just like a read-through of their lines, and then I had to quickly do up like a rough cut of the rehearsal and send it out to everybody. So we kind of have like a guideline of how it's going to look like. Of course, at that point, it was very long. I think it was like about 7 to 10 minutes long, because everything was in there and every emotion was in there. Every reaction was in there. But it was a really good run at that point, because then everyone from the scriptwriter, to the director, to Lester, to even the talent, they then know exactly what they need to do and what can be lessened. And during the shoot, actually, because we're all on remote shoot, I got to be also involved on shoot. I was dialed in, I watched the shots, so that kind of gives me an idea of how else we can cut it and what else do we need, especially Angie, the director, or anybody on set actually at that point will ask me, do I need anything extra, or or us, everybody else had their own opinions, gave their opinions on like, what do we need extra of, or will this work, will that work? And our talents, I would say, maybe because they are friends, but they were very, very helpful. They were very, very accommodating to what our requests were. Probably because they are also part of production. They're also in the industry, so it's also like a good practice for them at the same time. In terms of post-production during editing, everything was actually just about the same as you would pre-MCO. I got a hard drive delivered to me, and some of the footage was also put in Dropbox, because there was one day we had to reshoot one scene, because as Zina mentioned, we shot an iPhone, so it's at certain points it's hard to see what's on the frame. And so there was one scene that we had to reshoot, and that was dumped into a Dropbox. But other than that, actually for post-production, everything remains the same. Editing is the same. Preview, we do it via online. So I sent a copy off to everybody, and I just got notes sent over to me. And that's about it. So post-production was easy breezy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn. Thank you very much, and thank you for giving us such a wonderful end product. So now, just a quick, we would like to show you the video that we did, the simple PSA video. So you can play.
Zina?
Zina, the audio is not turned on.
Yes, I think you have to kind of unshare your screen first, and then when you are sharing again, there is actually a little tab on the top left that says include system audio. So you have to click that before you share your desktop. Otherwise, audio won't come out from the slides itself.
Okay. Thank you, Sanjay. We'll
try that again and see whether that works.
Yep.
Sorry, what do I have to do? To have the video.
So stop sharing first. Stop sharing. Okay, when you click on share again.
Yeah.
On the top right, you should see something that says include system audio.
Stop sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you click share again, it says include system audio on the top right somewhere. So you click that and then click share your desktop again.
Wait, I don't see include system audio. I can't see include system audio.
No.
Include system audio.
It says top left of the screen.
Top left is here. Top left is.
Top left, yeah. It's not there. Otherwise, I can play it off of YouTube since it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Itself.
Yeah, actually,
yeah,
because
I'll
it's
just,
not very.
I'll just do that. Yeah.
Okay, I will stop share.
So here's me taking over.
Yay.
Can everyone see that? Quick yes, no. Okay, cool. So full screen, let's turn audio all the way up. Okay, so this is Geng Kelambu.
Hey, Dr. Ray. Hey, Syah. Kau baru balik kerja ke? Dah buka ke belum? Dah pukul 9 kot. Takkan nak puasa lagi. Siapa lagi kau invite dalam chat ni? Adi ada? Adi ada. Okey, kau tahu kan? Weh. Oi, Pakcik. Eloklah tu. Kau pun banyak dosa kan.
Zain, I really think you memang banyak dosa lah. I think you need to repent already.
Pon, kau pun. Mana si Bob? Kalau Bob ada, korang tak kacau aku. Mesti lambat lah. Okay, anyway, pasal Adi, aku nak cakap.
Cakap apa?
Adik.
Tu Bob dah sampai. Dia kacau je. Masih pada aku supaya korang.
Sampai je aku kena.
Mana buka mata kau Bob? Aku nak sikit.
Cuba duduk kau tu. Block kamera Bob.
Kau tak nampak aku ke?
Klik pakai jari Bob, bukan pakai pipi.
Bob, kau jangan malas.
Tak jadilah aku punya entrance. Sekejap. Jeng. Apa cerita ni? Geng Kelambu. Semua dah ada eh? Lawyer buruk, Pak Haji Petayap, Cikgu Buta Huruf, Handsome Romeo. Ni korang ni. Frontliner Dr. Ray.
Frontliner.
Macam tu.
Kau ni si lawyer buruk. Apa you like Mr. on the way?
Ya, Mr. on the way.
Kau ni lambat banget. Seriously, you wrong life, man.
You lawyer sama buruk. You combine together, lawyer buruk lah.
But really, I also want long life. Long life because more happiness.
Long life is correct. I long life. Thank you, Sean. That one you betul. Tapi you lawyer tau. Bukan you lagi banyak duit ke?
We got banyak duit one. This MCO, I poor, you know. But really, I think the most kaya one is Zeng, you know. Zeng rich.
Abang restaurantor.
Business restaurant ni, tak kaya sangat tau. Lagi penat ada. Kalau aku boleh duduk rumah, lagi best.
Alah, cakap pasal penat. Aku lagi penat. Berapa ramai orang masuk hospital. Kenapalah orang tak duduk dalam rumah?
Bini diorang banyak beriti kot. Sebiji macam bini aku. Work from home pun seksa tau. Betul lah Adi?
Adi. Mak kau orang kata.
Di, asal kau diam ni? Kau banyak sangat kerja lah sampai penat layan gitu orang. Bob, at least bini kau sihat, Bob. Sean, Zain, Ray, at least korang dah kerja. Bisnes pun hidup bagi. Kita dah mudah hari ni, sorry Kita borak lagi ni.
Adi, jangan macam Adi.
Alamak. Tiba-tiba ilmu macam Mamat ni. Selalu okey
Aku tak sempat nak cakap tadi. Adi, dia dah hilang kerja dia. Dia kena pindah kampung mak dia sekarang ni. Bila dia hilang kerja?
Bila jadi weh? Aku tak tahu pun.
Bob ni.
Wah, laju je kau
Insurance
Yang si Sean tu tadi bukan main ni, duit lah apa lah.
Okay. Alright guys. Okay, tak apa. Apa yang penting sekarang ni, aku rasa time untuk kita tolong kawan kita ni. Okay ke tak?
Okay, aku on.
Tolong. Okay guys, semua dah tahu apa nak cakap kan?
Bob.
Tahu.
Yeah, tahu. Okay, ready.
Adi.
Guys, terima kasihlah sebab hantar barang aku. Aku sebenarnya segan sangat dengan korang. Lepas raya nanti, aku akan bayar balik semua orang, okay?
Tak payah Adi, kau belanja kita orang tengok ais kat Mamang cukup lah.
Betul? Adi, kau ingat tak sama kita kadet dulu? Semua satu platoon, tidur satu barrack.
Yeah, and then I don't know why our Kelambu always koyak one.
Ya tu koyak. Aku ni.
Ya tu. Lepas tu kau suruh kita orang sambung Kelambu tu semua jadi satu.
Supaya kita semua boleh sharing is caring. Together. Adi, kau ingat tak apa yang kau selalu cakap?
Ingat. Yang besar kena jaga yang kecil. Yang berupaya kena tolong yang tak mampu. Sebab tu kita semua geng Kelambu.
Alah comelnya. Kenapa muka anak kau tu macam muka Bob bang?
Lazim. Bob juga nak bahan kan? Sean, bila nak
I don't have girlfriend, how to marry? You tell me.
Kau nak yang kaya ke yang hot?
You want us to be
Yeah, as long as she love me, I'm a happy man.
Thank you, Sanjit, for playing the video.
Okay.
Anyone else who wants to watch the video could go to either Facebook or YouTube to watch it. And thank you everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. Just a note from us. Zina, everybody can turn on your video. Lester, Lynn, Angie, Farid. Okay. Just a last capping out from us before we go to the Q&A. Film production is not a glamorous job. It's hard work and dedication. It's not just for the project, but for yourself as well. Drive your passion into what you want to achieve and keep going. It's a long journey, but it's a very rewarding one when you get there. Learning never stops, so be true to yourself and others. The adventure and journey never ends. This is a very simple video that we've done for just to pass our time and also to learn new experience during the MCO. And yeah, I'll pass it back to you, Sanjit, for any Q&A.
Okay, thanks very much, guys. It was very enlightening, entertaining, and interesting presentation. So you know, open it up for the Q&A now. And like I said earlier, if anyone has any questions, you just click on the little raise your hand button, and then I will call you out. And when I do, you can turn on your microphones and ask away. Okay, so floor is open. Questions from anyone out there? We can possibly start with our 6 interns here who are working on a very similar styled project. Yes, William?
Okay, so can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so because we are working on a film project remotely, is there any advice or suggestions if you're filming with people without any experience or background with filming? Because we find it challenging to explain to them like what's right to do, because some of them don't understand like headroom, lighting, or those. Is there any advice for us?
Maybe either Zina or Lester could take this in terms of how you guys explain to our talents were partial production people, and how do you explain to them in terms of using the iPhone when we shot it, and going through the process of explaining to them in terms of framing and etc.
I think communication is very, very important, because you are not face to face with the person that you are trying to film. So I guess communication is got to be clear, and if possible, you would have to give them a lot of references on what kind of framing you're looking for, or you could probably even shoot yourself. Okay, I want the framing to be centralized and whatnot, and the kind of area, or you can even do a virtual recce scout of the location where you want the person to stand. So it takes a lot of meetings and a lot of pre-production to be done, and to be able to get what you want. And basically you need to give a lot of examples on what kind of style and framing you are looking for. Anything to add?
What was also helpful was we provided a PDF, actually that helped a lot, the talents. We provided a PDF, step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what to do, which as a non-technical person, then you just refer to. So if you gave them very clear instructions with PDF, I mean on a document, it will help a lot also.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, other questions? Anyone else?
Hi. Yeah. I have a question. So like to follow up on this question. So in terms of like the technical side of it, we're kind of limited. I mean, we have zero budget basically doing this video documentary. So sometimes we have to rely on, because some of our interviewees do not have proper lighting. So sometimes we have to rely on natural light, and the interview can span about like 40 minutes. And so how do you deal with like white balance and stuff, because it's daylight and the lighting is constantly changing?
Okay, I think that question will go back to Lester again. This is a technical question. Lester, would you like to share your experience?
Depending on what you're shooting on, if you're shooting on a phone, I suggest you downloading the Filmic Pro, because from there you can change the white balance for the camera. For the app, you got to pay, I think it costs about 60 ringgit, but it's worth for your quality that you're looking for. But in terms of natural light, if you're looking for daylight, or are you looking for mixed lighting? If it's only for daylight, you probably best to do it by the window where a lot of sunlight can come in. And if you are just going for tungsten or warm lighting, I'll suggest that you black out the windows or door and just rely on practical lights like your table lamp, your standing lamp, and just work with whatever you get. Because nowadays, camera phones or DSLRs, the sensors are very sensitive, so you don't need much lights to be able to brighten your image. Is that what your question was?
Yeah, I was just because we were doing a recording earlier today, and there was this constant change of like cool to warm tones in the, because
was it because your indoor lighting was tungsten, yellow light?
The indoor, yeah, but the thing is, we're using two main cameras. So I mean, camera A would be the Zoom video call, and then camera B would be just slightly 45 degrees towards the interviewee, which is a phone camera, which we can still adjust the white balance and stuff, but the webcam itself, that's the one that had the issues of the changing of colors.
Oh, okay. For the webcam, was it necessary for you to use the webcam, or was it?
The idea behind the webcam was to make it look like, it's more natural, like people are working at home, this is the situation that we're in now, the pandemic, and we want to have that kind of look,
All right. If it was that case, because usually the change of light would usually come from outside the sunlight because of the clouds and all.
Yeah.
Usually what I would do is I would block out the windows and find a location where I can control the light better.
Okay.
With like practical lights and all.
All right. Thank you.
I think just adding on to that, Lester, we also had quite a lot of problems in terms of trying to find a medium, which is what were we shooting on before we decided going on an iPhone, and which is very similar story of how we did this process, because as we also wanted to be quite to play it natural as well, and the reason why we didn't use a directly webcam or the camera from the laptop is because it's something that we could not control. So that's why we shot our talents and cast individually on the iPhone. So a great planning in terms of getting a script and what would you like to do. Plan as your script is, and then you shoot it individually. We usually do that, and having a separate in terms of equipment will help you to control a little bit more than directly from something that you can't control.
All right. Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you so much.
Yep.
Hi.
Thanks, Christian.
Do you guys think it's a little bit boring if there's no B-roll or some other visuals other than your cast face for the online video you show us?
There'll be probably a question for Angie and Zina, I'll say.
I can start. I'll say that for this story, we kept it very simple because it was all that quite friend that fun, very much like how yes, of course, people is very important, but that's all that Geng Kelambu. Not just maybe you take over first.
Okay. I take over first. So how we did this story is we try to keep it short and simple, and then to send our message across a bit more, how to say, condensed, because we try to keep it to not too long, because sometimes online video, if you keep it too long, the viewership will actually like disappear within the minutes. So we're trying to send across the message.
Oh no, looks like she's gone missing as well.
Yeah.
Never mind, I'll take over. Sorry. So I guess what both of them are trying to say is that when we were doing it, we already know like there are some points that we needed B-rolls or we needed some inserts, but we didn't want it to be too many because, as Angie said before she got cut off, that we didn't want our viewership or our audiences to, fall asleep after so long. As we all know, people's attention span is very limited nowadays. So we didn't want it to go past 5 minutes or 7 minutes. So in terms of edits, we were going past at like 7 minutes at first, and then we cut it shorter. For B-rolls and insert shots and all, if you notice in our video, we didn't have any B-rolls because we felt like it was not necessary for our context. But it really depends on your story, whether it's necessary or not. We were discussing to have one in the beginning, which is like a establishing shot, and then we decided no, there's no time for that, or it was not necessary at all for the story also. So yeah. Is Angie, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. Got cut off the internet. Yeah. So also it's a group discussion. We also have like after we edit in post, we also have a playback, and we will together see is there any inputs or what's the comments. So all of us thought of, okay, we keep it condensed, we keep it tight. So we just try to make our points across fast, so that and then also we refer to a lot of online videos. What are the references? What are the video durations? So those are the references that we actually sort of follow. Yeah.
Also, I want to add in, expanding on Lynn's explanation, you can also look at it like we were in a situation where there's not much that we can do. So, but with every story also, you have stories that are visually driven, and also you have stories that are like dialogue driven. So in this case, right, you can actually balance it by crafting really good dialogues that actually films or stories that is actually dialogue driven. So the dialogue actually drives the story, and that is what actually the whole thing about Geng Kelambu as well. We know that we have like severe limitations. We can't cut to visuals and like show flashbacks or whatever. So the dialogue is actually driving the story. So it's not so much of a plot driven or visually driven one. So you can actually find ways. There's more than one way to tell a story, and it's not necessarily through like visuals. Thanks.
Okay, so I think we're running a little over time. We have time for one last question. Someone out there?
Hello, I'm Darren. Yeah, so my question is there any like challenges facing in the scheduling for your talents? Like, because maybe some of them that they can't follow your dates, so like, will there be like any interruption between your whole schedule?
That will probably be a question for Zina, the head of production.
Okay. Yeah, well, yes and no, because we were all under MCO, so there was nowhere anyone was going to go. So but initially our shoot schedule was planned for 3 days. And I'm sorry, for 2 days. We wanted to shoot the whole shoot within 2 days. But whenever we plan a shoot, we always have a contingency day on our schedule, and we had set one extra day for contingency, and we found out that we actually did need it because when on the first day of shoot, when we sent our gear there, the setup time, which would normally have taken one hour, ended up 2-3 hours to set up that shot. So we only managed to shoot 2 homes a day, and we had 6 locations to do. And it ended up taking 3 days. So whenever we're planning our schedules, always give yourself time. Check with your talents, of course. In reality, time equals money. And if we are paying everybody for these shoots, then we want to shoot it in the shortest time possible. But because we were all under MCO, we were doing this as a project that we loved. So we managed to increase the shoot dates. If that's your question, did I answer your question?
Yeah. Okay, so it's clarified. So, because right now we're having a project as well, so there's a few talents that I'm still still like waiting for their response. So it's like a bit out of my schedule that I've already planned, but we're trying to work how is it? Yeah. So we have another week next week, like for a conversation. So if they missed out this week, then we'll go on with next week.
Actually, when we were doing this also, we had a few other people in mind. These 6 people that ended up on this show weren't the 6 that we initially planned. There were some friends of ours who we would have preferred to be on the show. And actually, sometimes you have to decide to cut and say, as much as I like this person, he or she is not available, so we will now just have to do without. Maybe he's not as good an actor, but I will have to do it to suit my schedule, because if not, you'll be shooting forever for a long time.
Okay. All right, got it. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think there's one hand still up there. Texen, you want to have a quick last question?
Yes, hello. I would like to know, is there a time where any one of you experienced conflict, like the most difficult times, or how you guys resolve it?
Okay, I'll just jump in before the rest. I think one is to begin with, we were all friends, but on this project. But on other projects, if on our normal day jobs, projects in production, there's always bound to be criticism, and etc. So conflicts, I would say yes. There's always conflicts around, but work yourself around it. Just don't drown yourself into the negativity of comments, because take every comment as a positive note. There's how we come to the script from the little idea that I had was a tremendous amount of stories, and I can tell you, and those stories, we went straight to the moon and came back, and there was no, everything was everywhere, and then we slowly, all right, let's point out your view, okay, what do you think? So you have to share and work together. I think teamwork is very important, and you work together and get your ideas and let everybody know. And when you have a sort of question, or you want to question the subject or the problem, you have to verify, why do you think it that way? And if you're defending it, it's also, why do you think it that way? But, you know, you have to come to a point that you meet in the middle and go like, okay, guys, you know, this is how, let's take that and take this, you know. Everybody's idea is always great, but you have to come to a solution. You have to come to a point that you have to make a decision. So that's where you solve the conflicts. So definitely there will be, because, you know, what I see and what you see is totally different thing. So work together. I think work as a team. I think that's from my point. Don't take it personal. Anybody wants to add to that?
I guess keep our egos in check. Like, you know, your script may be, Farid may have written the script, but I think it went through 5-6 people. If you, after that, and changed words and stuff, if you have your ego and you think that you can't take that criticism, then it's going to be hard for you to work as a team.
Yeah, I totally agree, because like you need to learn how to listen. I think that's like a very important skill that you have to cultivate, because when you stop listening, because every comment or every feedback might sound personal, but it's actually not. So like what Leslie said, that you need to make a decision, because at the end of the day, the script, the idea, it all boils down to decision. You can't fit everything in it. So you need to be brutal and make a decision which one that you want to follow. So yeah, everything will be justified in the end. So learn how to listen. It's very important.
Okay, so I think with that we have come to the end of today's session. I'd like to thank our guests once again, Zina, Leslie, Angie, Lester, Farid and Lane. I hope they enjoyed themselves here and hope they'll be willing to come back at some point in the future again. And for all our guests as well, our viewers today, hopefully you've learned something new and you've been inspired moving forward. So yeah, with that, thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.